Alright, so today we're going to be looking at this video from the Curious Ape channel titled The Forgotten Kill Tony Regulars Iceberg Explained. Now, do you guys remember all the regulars? Do the regulars even show up anymore? How do you disappear from being a regular? If you were a regular in the early days, couldn't you just get on today if you wanted? Who knows? Let's see what this Curious Ape guy's got to say.
Since 2013, 17 comedians have become full-time regulars on Kill Tony. Some of them are now becoming some of the biggest names in comedy, and others you've probably never even heard of. Whether it was going mentally insane, getting beat to a bloody pulp, or being kicked off the entire show. This is the Kill Tony regulars iceberg.
Alright, so the first regular that I thought gave the idea to other people interested in comedy that they could be successful as a Kill Tony regular was Malcolm Hatchett. He came on this show and immediately flipped it. He made you a fan immediately, he made you comfortable immediately, and he had jokes, dude. Just his personality was very funny. And then all of a sudden, disappeared. But couldn't he come back on and just do a minute at any point? How do you... I don't think you lose regularship. It didn't even happen to fucking Hans Kim.
5 tiers, starting with the winners everybody knows and loves, and working all the way down to the deepest, darkest stories in the regulars' history. Now, if we're gonna start at the surface, it's only right we begin with Kill Tony's most recent regular. Pat O'Neill is someone who's completely taken the show by storm, and by watching his comedy, you'd think that this was somebody who's been doing it for years. But it wasn't until 2021 that Pat even started doing stand-up, and it was listening to JRE and hearing Rogan's advice that inspired Pat to get...
Whoa. Who would have expected that? Is it because they know how unfunny Rogan is that they're like, well, if he thinks that this is the route to go, why not do it? I at least have jokes. Again, Joe and this Rogan sphere have put on a lot of really unfunny people. There's some exceptions. We know who they are, Pat O'Neill being one of them. The dude is an absolute killer. Ari Maddie's not bad. I like William, you know, but... Brendan Schaub? Come on, man. A Tony Hinchcliffe? You know, like I've stated on this channel before, anybody could do that job. Tony isn't doing anything special by hosting this podcast. Anybody can say the lines that he says because they're always the same. Let's hear some more.
To give it a try.
Stand-up, all you have to do is you do open mic nights, you get funny, you build up an act, and then people come to see you, you build up a career, and the next thing you know, you become a successful comedian. That's what happened to you, that's what happened to me.
Not surprisingly, though, things weren't as simple as that. And Pat...
Well, what Joe just said is basically, hey, you just keep doing it long enough, somebody will give you a job doing that or something similar, and then you can pretend that you're a funny person for the rest of your life.
His first few years were absolutely brutal, but that's normal for any comedian. Most don't even get comfortable until a decade in. Pat ran into a completely different problem though, and it was one that no amount of time was ever gonna fix. Because the clubs in his hometown of Massachusetts genuinely didn't like Pat. They didn't enjoy his style, they didn't like the type of raunchy jokes he was telling, but he had enough confidence, or as he might put it, was stupid enough to think that he could actually make it in Austin. And just a few years into his career, he decided to move down and fully pursue this dream.
Okay, so if he's taking advice from the Rogan podcast, hearing about Kill Tony from the Rogan podcast, probably watching Kill Tony and seeing all these terrible comedians, he had to think, well, at least I have jokes. I have the jokes, man. I just need somebody to see it. I need somebody who can help me in this industry, see me do the jokes. And so far, that's worked for him. And it's not a particular industry of any you know, popularity, really. It's podcasting, you know, but at least he gets to do dates. He can tour a little bit, right? I mean, Cam Patterson didn't necessarily have jokes. He had a good personality, and people in the actual industry of Hollywood saw the... hey, I'm a young dude who has comedy timing to a degree, let me in, and they gave him that opportunity. Is he still writing quality sets? Is he ever going to do an hour special? Probably not. But Pat O'Neill, this is a connoisseur of comedy, man. This is a dude who wants to write good jokes. And so far, he hasn't failed at that.
This dream.
How was when you first got to Austin, like doing the open mic scene? How was that?
Oh, I pity anybody that starts down here. Truly. I truly pity anybody that starts down here.
That's so funny.
It's a rough one. Fucking bad, dude.
The move down to Austin challenged Pat in many ways, but Pat knew it wasn't just about getting on stage more. At some point, he had to get some recognition, and from years of listening to JRE, he was familiar with this show called Kill Tony. Really, it was one of the main reasons he moved to Texas. But
Now, the crazier thing about that is knowing that there's people that Joe Rogan has inspired to do Kill Tony that have never written a joke before in their life. There's that guy that was on the Netflix, one of the Netflix specials, that rode his bike from California for like 36 days to get to Austin, and all he had to say when he did his minute was that he rode his bike to be on Kill Tony. That's because there's delusional people who think if you just see them, you're gonna notice the raw talent that they already have, and they're not gonna have to work for it or do anything or actually showcase. And then there's people like Pat O'Neill, who probably waited months to get his name pulled out of that bucket and actually smash. And that's another thing that I wonder is, like, if these are some of the weirdos that we're getting from that bar next door, what are the weirdos like that are never getting on stage? What are the ones that get kicked out of the bar and can't even sign up anymore before they have their first minute?
But as months passed and he spent every Monday in the bar across the street waiting to get pulled, Pat started to realize his dreams of getting on Kill Tony might never come true. It was, of course, right when he was about to stop signing up, that he'd get pulled on one of the most unique episodes ever. Because his first appearance would be Kill Tony's Netflix episode. And while his set was good, it wasn't enough to land him a golden ticket. If he wanted that, he'd have to prove that he was the real deal.
That is another thing that I noticed about some of these recent regulars or golden ticket winners, is some of them absolutely deserve it and they don't get it. There was an old guy on 2 weeks in a row, doesn't get a golden ticket, has constant jokes, been doing it for 40 years, and then Uncle G comes out and gets a golden ticket. No one's ever seen him before, right? And they're both just old guys who have been doing comedy or can do comedy. Why not give them both golden tickets? You don't give the first old guy one, but you give the second one? I don't know, it's just weird. Uncle G's the man, though.
Folks, been vaping, but it's just not as satisfying as cigarettes. You ever try putting one of these out on your kid? Nothing. No reaction. Generation soft is a big reason why. Other day, my friend told me Tiger Woods is Native American. I was like, no shit, his name's Tiger Woods.
Like I said, he's the man, and I don't think he's missed a single time he's been on. One of his last appearances wasn't great, but he still has this thing about his interview and the way he delivers the joke, this consistency that I really enjoy, and I think a lot of people also do.
As great as Pat's minute was, it was his interview that was somehow even better. What's most impressive though, was this was an episode where Tony wasn't in a great mood. These weeks happened from time to time, when he'd been doing the show
Well, he's probably on his period that day.
For 13 years straight. And episode 736 was without a doubt.
Hey, that doesn't say 736. Huh?
A cranky night for Mr. Hinchcliffe. Usually these episodes take on an awkward or standoffish energy, and most comedians completely crumble during their interview. But Pat was somehow breaking through it in a way that nobody else really had.
What do you do with the rest of your life looking what you look like?
I don't know. I like steak. I like candy.
Okay.
I like girls. I like movies.
You're very excited tonight, Pat. Look at you.
I'm on Kill Tony.
You're damn right.
Another thing I really enjoy about Pat O'Neill is that he comes out not wearing the hat that he clearly wears often. He comes out looking like this on purpose to add to the funny. Like, he already looks like a funny guy. Have the jokes. Like, it wasn't that long ago that this dude came out on stage and people laughed for a good 60 seconds before the man even got to do any jokes, just from how he looked. If that guy could capitalize by also being funny and having a joke, he'd be huge. Who is that guy? Who knows? Is he on here? Probably not, because he never became a regular.
right.
I like steak. I like ghouls. I like candy.
That's the best response I've ever heard.
Despite Pat's amazing appearance, he wouldn't even walk off stage with the big joke book. This just goes to show how important the vibe is for an episode, because in any other universe, Pat should have walked off stage with the golden ticket. But Tony's mood can be the difference between changing your career or not. For the next 6 months, Pat was back to open mics all around town, and having been on a Netflix episode, followed by a flawless follow-up appearance, he must have felt like his time on Kill Tony.
Alright, so as you can see, this guy's going through deeply on all of these guys that have been regulars and girls, and he's doing a great job. So far, the information's fantastic. He deserves the 100,000 views that he has. Go check out the man's channel, Curious Ape. Go watch the rest of this video. It's almost an hour long, so you know he's getting deep here. But I don't react to full hours of anything. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we'll see you.
Why do I always let them in?